Today we're going to talk about using context clues to figure out words from a text. This text is called When Animals Snooze. Sometimes in a text we have to look either forward, read backwards, and forward. So let's read the first line here. Cat nap anyone? Big cats are big sleepers. They may doze 12 to 20 hours a day and in all kinds of places. So now I'm not sure what the word doze means, but if I can look back, I see big sleepers. So I'm going to think sleepers probably relates to the word doze. I also see that it says 12 to 20 hours a day. And then says in all kinds of places. I'm going to say that that's relating to sleep. So now I can figure out that doze probably means to sleep. I'm going to keep going now. Leopards sprawl out on branches. Well, the word sprawl is here. Sometimes the context clue is after the word. So it says leopards sprawl out on branches. I'm going to see the on branches here. And I'm going to say, well, sprawl out. So I'm going to think now, if we're talking about sleep, and I see the word sprawl, and I see on branches, I'm probably going to say that this means to spread out, or spread out while the animal is sleeping. Lions and tigers doze every which way on the ground, but cats aren't the only animals to kick back and catch some Z's. The animal world is filled with sleepyheads. Snoozing basics. But wait, what exactly is sleep? Here's how many scientists define it. Sleep is a period of rest when an animal is less aware of its surroundings. The animal's breathing and heartbeat slow down, and its brain waves show a pattern that is different from when the animal is awake. Why do animals sleep? Many experts say sleep brings animals back to peak performance. If I'm not sure what peak is, I could keep going and see if there's any clues that can help me with that. Peak performance. It restores. Restores their bodies and gives them new energy. Now I'm seeing the words restores and new energy. Then I'm going to keep going. To go out about their normal activities. It's kind of like recharging a cell phone. Recharging a cell phone. That's kind of like restoring the battery and giving it new energy. So now I know that peak means to have energy. Means the best performance, to have all that energy. So I'm going to keep going now. Chill out artists. Bet you're wondering if all animals sleep. Mammals and birds do, for sure. They may also dream. But what about other animals? Reptiles, fish, amphibians, and insects, for instance. It's not so easy to tell what's going on with them, and experts disagree about whether they sleep. Still, some of the animals often look as if they're sleeping. It's just that their brain waves don't show the usual sleep patterns. Who knows? Maybe they're just having a slightly different kind of sleep. Whatever works. Sleeping animals doze in different ways. Well, if I found out what doze meant here, then I know what it means here, and it meant to sleep. Sleep in different ways. I'm going to make sure that I'm replacing the word that I think it is in the sentence to make sure. So sleeping animals sleep in different ways. That makes sense. It's just repetitive, which is probably why the author chose to use the words doze. But I'm making sure to put it into the sentence. Take elephants. Like you, they lie down at night, but they don't always snooze straight through. They don't always. Now, I'm going to look at the word straight through. This is a clue that's coming after the word, straight through. And I'm going to say that this probably is another word that means sleep. They may rise and feed a bit, then settle back down again, averaging about 5 hours of sleep a night. And then it says here, so that's going to tell me, lying down, averaging about 5 hours of sleep a night, and that tells me again what this word snooze means. So sometimes there's several different ways that we can get to the word. Sometimes there's other clues that come after. During the day, the elephants in a herd nod off now and then. When calves lie down to nap, the adults often gather around them in a protective circle. Okay. Animals that are active at night often sleep during the day. Fruit bats in Africa, for example, rest or sleep in the daylight. So if I don't know the word roost, sometimes the author will give it to us in parentheses or in commas. So here it says rest or sleep in parentheses, which tells us that roost means rest or sleep. It's actually right there. The context, there are no real context clues, it just tells you what it means. So in Africa, for example, rest or sleep in the daylight. That makes sense. Roost in the daylight. They crowd together in trees. Here, thousands of them hang upside down by their rear feet, which automatically tighten and get a grip so the bats don't fall. Northern naps. Polar bears nap when there's nothing better to do, especially after big meals. In summer, they may flop down in ice and snow, not just to sleep, but also to cool off. With its super warm coat, a bear can easily overheat. So if I didn't know what the word overheat means, I might find it before, a clue before, with its super warm coat. If it's super warm, that's why the bears are probably going to overheat. So it has to chill out. And then we see the word chill here. That tells us they have to cool down. It's almost like double weight meaning. Other animals living in snowy places have the opposite problem: how to stay warm while sleeping. Foxes curl up and use their tails as scarves to help keep the cold off. Fishy tricks. Fish brain waves may never show up sleep patterns, but many fish seem to do some serious resting. The parrotfish, for example. So I might think, parrotfish, are we talking about a bird or a fish? So now what can help is that it says fish brain waves over here before this word. So I'm going backwards to find the clues. I'm also looking at the heading that tells me the main idea of the section, which is about fish. So now I can get that this must be a type of fish, even though it says the word parrot. The parrotfish, for example, squeezes itself into a rocky crevice at night and puts up its very own tent. Well, crevice is a difficult word. It says rocky crevice, except it says squeezes itself into. So right here, I have to look for the clues that are before the word. So here, it's before the word. Here's crevice, but I get the clue from before it. So sometimes we have to read forward, sometimes we have to read backwards to get the context clues. The tent is actually a bubble made of clear mucus. Well, I'm not sure what mucus means. Let me keep reading. The mucus oozes from the fish's mouth. So I know if it's from the fish's mouth, then it's probably what we have in our own mouths and like noses. So it's probably some kind, and it says oozes. So it's coming out of the fish's mouth. And there's this word mucus still, something that the fish has in its mouth to form a protective sac. So if I keep reading, the mucus may keep tiny pests away, as well as help hide the fish's scent from eels and other predators. So this is something that's creating some kind of protective sac. So I'm going to think that a sac is some kind of covering or bag. If I heard the word sac before, covering or some kind of bag. The bubble may also act as an alarm. If a predator touches it, the parrotfish wakes up, bursts out, and swims off. So sometimes we have to find the definitions before or after. Those clues might not have the actual definition like it did up here, but we're still finding clues. Splish, splash, yawn. Water is where you'll often find hippopotamuses sleeping too. They loll their days away on riverbanks or in shallow lakes, using each other as puffy pillows. So if I'm not sure what the word loll is, I'm going to keep reading. And I also see that it says something about sleeping here too. They loll their days away. But let's see if I can get some more clues to tell me really what loll means. A hippo can doze nearly totally submerged, but still be on the alert. So if I'm seeing that loll probably means something along the lines of sleeping, they're days away on the riverbanks or in shallow lakes. So they're kind of, it looks like if they're using each other as puffy pillows, they're just probably resting, relaxing. And that's probably what loll means. A hippo can doze nearly totally submerged, but still be on the alert. Well, I know that sub means below, like submarine. So something about below, and I'm going to keep reading. That's because its eyes, ears, and nostrils are on top of its head. So if it's because its eyes, ears, and nostrils are on top of its head, then submerged means probably under something, under the water. Let's keep reading and seeing. But don't be fooled by a sleeping hippo's lazy, lumpy looks. If alarmed, it can awaken and charge a would-be attacker in an instant. So if a hippo could doze totally submerged, it probably means under the water, because that's why its eyes, ears, and nostrils are on top of its head, nearly totally submerged. Sleep on the fly. An albatross spends most of its life gliding on the wind currents at sea. Well, what's an albatross, I'm wondering? But if I see in the heading it says fly, I'm thinking, what kind of animal flies? Sometimes it's birds. I'm also seeing here how it says life gliding on the wind. So that gives me a hint. I'm going to keep reading, though. How does it find time to sleep? Experts aren't sure. The bird may alight on the water's surface or sleep there. Oh, wait, it says the bird, which means that an albatross is a bird. The clue was after. Now I have a new word here. The bird may alight on the water's surface and sleep there. So I'm thinking that the word alight means something above the water. I'm going to keep reading. Or while flying, it may close down half of its brain, keeping the other half awake for several seconds at a time. So alight probably just means to be on the water's surface, almost like floating. Okay. Pause, that refreshes. Many grazing animals live out in the open. So if I'm not sure what grazing is, I'm going to keep reading. I don't see anything before it. They have to be on guard, ready to run from danger. So they often snatch short naps. Still not sure. Horses, for instance, sleep only for a few minutes at a time, often while standing. So I could see that snatch probably means to catch short naps. And many grazing animals, we know that it's a type of animal. And let's see if we can figure out what that means. A horse's legs can lock in place so the animal can sleep without the risk of falling down. So this just means that there's animals live out in the open. I'm not really getting clues here. So there's really not many clues here that tell me. It's just a type of animal. And I don't know if it's so important to me understanding what that word means right here. And then it says, so now you know what's up when animals settle down. So there were some different ways to figure out what words mean. We had to look before or after, read back or forward. It might be close to the word, but sometimes it could be a few sentences after. We also found that sometimes context clues could be right there. And sometimes we found that we could pick apart words using their roots, like sub, meaning below. And that's how we find clues from context.